Welcome to the don't say it, no. 16th episode of Just the Casuals Insight. I had to get it down. I didn't want no help this time. Wait, where do I start? Oh yeah. Okay, look, so we're the co-host. I'm Jelani Smith, 20 years old, mass communication major out of South Suburban College.
I'm Dakota Mitchell.
And Just the Casuals Insight, guys. Today's episode is going to be really, really interesting. I think you guys are going to really like the episode. For the people that are listening, I'm going to plug early today. Check us out on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We're also on Instagram. I believe we're on Spotify. We are on Spotify.
Yeah.
And we are on Anchor as well. Check us out on any of those platforms. If you love sports talk, if you love music, if you love social issues, we got all that in the bag, and we got it deep too. Today's episode, the first thing we're going to talk about today is actually, you're never going to guess it, a baseball topic. Now, when we started this show, I'm not going to lie, I never thought we would get to it, but today's baseball topic is super spicy. It's been something that's been it's been like basically all in the wheels in baseball like this past offseason. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. The Astros cheating scandal as well, / the Red Sox cheating scandal. So we're going to get into that. We're going to explain the cheating scandal and also why we believe, or not even what we believe, why baseball isn't, America's pastime like it used to be anymore. We're also going to talk a little bit today about Zaya Wade, Zaya Wade.
Yeah.
Dwayne Wade's son, who is daughter.
Yeah.
Dwayne Wade's daughter, recently transgender daughter. Now, we're going to give our thoughts pretty much on that situation in the family, and what Dwayne Wade as a father, what the perspective for him is. I mean, he's already expressed it himself, but we're going to give a little bit of our take, a little bit of our opinion on the whole issue. Mm-hmm. And lastly for today, we are going to talk about Nick Wright and Matt Barnes. They got into a beef on Twitter where Nick Wright, not even going to mention too much of what he said, but we're going to talk about, do analysts have the right to criticize basketball players to the extent of saying, you are a bad basketball player, which is what Nick Wright said about Andrew Wiggins when Andrew Wiggins got traded over to Golden State. Nick Wright, who has not played before, said that, not that he hasn't played before, didn't play at a super high level, right? Mm-hmm. Said that Andrew Wiggins is a bad basketball player. Matt Barnes took offense to that. We're going to dig deep into that issue and whether analysts have a right really to call professional basketball players bad players, or to criticize them in certain ways. We're going to get into all that. It's packed a lunch. It's going to be a huge episode of Just the Casuals Insight. Jelani Smith, Dakota Mitchell, stay with us. We'll be right back. No, we're done. And we are back, episode 16 of Just the Casuals Insight. Jelani Smith,
Dakota Mitchell.
And we're going to give our first ever. This has never happened before. I'm not sure it's ever going to happen again. Our first ever baseball topic. We might want to incorporate, because there are some baseball fans out there that possibly want to hear something from us. So anyway, all the baseball talk this offseason, besides Mookie Betts and David Price getting traded over to the Dodgers, which was I'm still processing that one, but
good old Mookie Betts.
But the Astros and their cheating scandal that they've been involved in, and now their GM got fired, and their coach got fired. AJ Hinch got fired. And let me start. So this website that I went on, I gotta find the reference, give the website out. They gave an explanation as to everything that happened. So Dakota, audience, everybody, I want you to listen, because this shit actually blew my mind when I was reading about this. I was like, this is absolutely 100%.
Just for anybody who doesn't know, I don't know a damn thing about baseball, because you just hit the ball with the bat.
Essentially, okay, so we're gonna start. In 2017, the Astros video replay room used live video feeds mid-game to learn and decode signs by the catcher. The decoded signs were then relayed to a player who would act as a runner to relay info to the dugout. In addition, Astros players worked together at the start of the season to improve the sign stealing process, installing a TV outside the dugout to make the process more efficient. That's the start. It's a start, right? We're not even really getting into it yet, not the meat potatoes of the whole thing. Well,
that's crazy, dog. I don't know how nobody knows. Like, at this point, they're just gonna have to start inspecting everybody's dugout before the game to make sure they ain't got nothing going on.
So Alex Cora, who was the manager for the Red Sox, he actually got fired. He was part of this as well, for the Red Sox. So
what did he have to do with it?
His team was
they were doing the same thing.
They were doing the same thing. As the Astros, yeah. So when the Red Sox were caught stealing signals during the 2017, they were caught doing this. In the 2017 season, the club was fined. So following the 2017-2018 season, MLB warned teams against stealing signs and emphasized that the use of using replay or video rooms to decode signals was strictly banned. So, in response to MLB's ruling, the Astros during the 2018 season relocated their video replay room directly behind their dugout. So instead of just going with everything that MLB said, they're like, nah, motherfucker, we finna find a different way to sneak and cheat this one out. Here, they were able to institute a banging scheme, which involved hitting trash cans either manually or with the massage guns to relay information to the hitters of what pitch was coming. One bang represented an off-speed pitch, changeup, curveball, slider, things like that. 2 indicated a fastball, according to MLB documents. The Astros players did not attempt to hide what they were doing during the 2017 season, but knew it was against the rules. One incident describes a sense of panic sweeping over players when they believed White Sox pitcher Danny Farquhar, damn near, I don't even know what the fuck his name is.
Farquhar.
Danny Farquhar was onto the sign stealing scheme, allegedly noticing players banging on trash cans in the dugout. At this point, players removed a monitor in the hallway used to track signs and placed it in an office in case an investigation took place.
Dog, that is so like slimy. Yeah.
A portable monitor was set up on a table for the postseason. So the Astros players, matter of fact, believed the sign stealing scheme lost its efficacy midway through the 2018 season. They believed it was becoming more of a distraction for hitters than a boon, though the findings did not support either belief. Okay, AJ Hinch, who was the coach, did not support the sign stealing scheme. In fact, the report notes that Hinch physically damaged the monitor used to watch signs on the 2 separate occasions, a move believed to show his displeasure for the practice. However, MLB notes that much like Lunhow, who was the GM, he did not make any efforts to stop players from stealing signs after learning about the scheme. And that's about that's it. So that's
bananas.
So basically, these guys set up monitors in their dugout, and when MLB was like, okay, we catch anybody, this is strictly banned. We catch you doing it, it's going to be a problem. They decided to use a different system, started banging on trash cans in order to signal to players what pitch was coming. Now, mind you, the Astros won the World Series in 2017. So, do you think a championship should be taken away from them? Like they were saying, the players. The funny thing is, the players, they haven't. I don't think they've been punished for this just yet. I don't know how you punish the players. To be honest with you, I don't know what you do.
I think championships should be washed. Take it away from everybody. Take away the rings. Take away it all. I mean, that's bananas, dog. You straight up robbed whoever else was in the work. You can't give it to them though. It's too late to have a parade now. You can't
Pretty much.
3 years later we're gonna have a parade for the championship we should have won. That doesn't feel right, man.
The Dodgers, you just have to take away the Astros championship that they had won in 2017.
Yeah, that'll just be a blank in history. Who won this one? Nobody, because the Astros will be bitches.
I don't know. I'm really trying to figure out, what do you do to the players exactly?
The players should be punished more than the coach. The coach wasn't cool with it. They were the one, they did the exact same thing the coach did. They didn't say anything to anybody, but the coach is the one who loses his job.
I don't understand.
That's garbage.
They need to be suspended. I don't know if no Astros players are going to be released, I'm sure. Like, at this point, since they all were involved in it, I don't know what they're all involved in it. That's the point. Like, it's not like we can single out one player and he was like, no, I don't fuck with that. Like, everybody was doing it. So
I mean, nobody spoke up and was like, all right, guys, enough is enough. We're done with this. Like, y'all just garbage at baseball, dog. You got to do all that. You garbage at baseball.
I know this year, in baseball, there's a lot of unwritten rules in baseball, and we're going to talk about that a little bit, and about unwritten rules in baseball. But one of the biggest things,
you got to remove them or something.
Is like the pitchers. And I'm talking, these pitchers throw 95 miles per hour up. The Astros batters, their shoulders and their ribs gonna be crying this year.
Well, in the NBA,
if
you take drugs, you're suspended for a year or so. I think that's the exact thing, except maybe worse, should be at least when you not that I'm advocating drug use or anything, but if you're doing that, your only person you're affecting is you're not affecting the whole team based off that. You're not affecting the whole MLB and everybody that watches baseball. But they basically in front of everybody was robbing them and then talking about we're just gonna keep playing. Nah, you guys should be suspended for 2 to 3 years.
The crazy part was how open they were about doing. They said somebody was onto them, the pitcher from the White Sox, and they just were like, fuck it, we're okay. We're gonna keep doing it. We're just gonna find a different way to do it, though.
Yeah, but I mean, if he look at y'all and then y'all stop, and now y'all really look fishy, though. Now y'all really lay y'all onto something.
Oh my goodness! So
that's crazy. Just sitting here thinking about that. That is like bananas.
I don't know what you can. I don't know what the equivalent of that is in
you just have to suspend them for like
basketball.
a year or something. Send them bitches out like the minors or something. I don't know.
They'd have a whole different team literally playing at the moment. They'd have a whole
just anybody who plays them for the rest of the year, just give them a bye because that's garbage, bro. I don't even know what you do at that point.
I think taking away their championship would definitely be like something sufficient.
Yeah,
to start with, like that would really
start with, but that's just punishing like the organization more than you're putting like the players. Like I don't know.
I have no clue what to do with the players at all. You know what's so funny? Okay, so Jose Altuve, who plays for the Astros, second baseman, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he hit a clutch home run to end the game-winning home run. He's rounding the bases, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if they said it in there. They had buzzers
mm-hmm.
that allowed them, like, told them what pitch was coming, right? So he's coming around the bases. He's heading towards home where everybody's at. He literally like did one of these. Like he opened his jersey a little bit
mm-hmm.
and opened it, and you could see the buzzer. And he said like, no, and then jumped in. I'm like, this dude right here. Like you saw the buzzer literally,
mm-hmm.
and then he just covered it back up, did a little Dikembe Mutombo finger wave, and then just jumped in the pile. I was like, the audacity of these motherfuckers! Wow,
that's crazy, dude. Not even to be cheating like that. That's like if like Giannis was taking steroids and he's pointing to his arm, something like making like a needle thing and being like, yeah, like that's you can't do that.
Oh my goodness,
you can't do that.
I've never. So yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do to the players. I'm not sure what MLB even wants to do, but I know for a fact that if they're playing, it's going to be some problems as far as the other pitchers on the other teams. They're going to be hitting the fuck out.
I don't even know how you look at yourself in the mirror and talking about, championship I won. I didn't really win it. Like, what?
Insane. This is something different. I mean, steroids. I talked about steroids before and drug use and all that.
Has something like this ever happened before in baseball? As far as like.
Oh, sign stealing? Look,
not sign stealing in general, but just like cheating to the point where like they would take away somebody's championship. Or, I don't know, World Cup, I guess. Okay, so the only... I don't really remember a whole lot of... I don't really remember... I know a lot of baseball history, but I can remember one time that there was actually... It was proven back in the... I believe it was the White Sox World mm-hmm.
Series back in like the 19 teens,
mm-hmm.
that they paid off the umpires to fix the game.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, like, I don't remember...
Did they still get the championship or no?
If I can't answer that question, I feel like it is still their championship. I don't know.
That's bananas.
I feel like it is still their championship. It's still official.
Talking about we win by any means, and then the league just gonna be okay with it. Like
I have no. You know, baseball's full of. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not trying to expose baseball, but let me fucking go ahead. There's a bunch of cheaters in baseball. But the thing about it is, sign stealing. That's something that's totally different. I've never. Okay, so teams steal other people's signs. They just don't do it digitally like that. Like they don't. Yeah. They're like looking. They're trying to pay attention. They might figure out signs when they're.
It is illegal to do it when you figure it out, or no?
When you no. No, oh, you talking about digitally, or you talking about
not digitally?
No. It's not illegal. That's the crazy part. So they could have done it like they probably were doing it before, but now they go digitally to be able to see on a camera.
What that's too much, bro. Y'all went too far. Y'all fumbled the bag on that one.
Oh my goodness.
How do you even go home with, like? I wonder if their families knew about that. Like, is he not allowed to cook out no more because they know you cheating? Like,
talking about the cookout.
That's fucked up.
Okay, so that's the Astros little cheating scandal. Like I said, don't know what they're gonna do with that organization with the championship. Don't know exactly where all that is going. But baseball in general. So this year, this is one of literally I don't watch much baseball anymore. Mm-hmm. I used to watch a lot of baseball, and the Nationals won the World Series this past year. And I was looking up, and I told you this yesterday, the 100 most marketable athletes in sports today. Number 1 was Cristiano Ronaldo. Number 2 was LeBron James. I believe that Neymar, Messi were in the top 10 as well as Curry, guys like that. Out of 100 athletes, tennis players, golf players, baseball players, football players, there was not one baseball player on there. Not one baseball player. And I was basically saying how the style and the swagger and the attitude that's prevalent in basketball, less so in football, but it's still there. Mm-hmm. There's none of that to be found really in baseball. And there's guys who are trying to bring it back, a.k.a. Tim Anderson, a.k.a. Alex Bregman, a.k.a. Ronald Acuna. But it's such a very, I don't want to use tired, but it's a very...
Who named somebody Acuna? It's Acuna Matata.
Oh my God.
It's Ronald Acuna.
But it's a very tired sport. Very traditionalist sport. There's a lot of unwritten rules. If you do something a certain way, they have a problem with it. You're supposed to be very, very humble. You're not supposed to show any confidence.
Like as if it was a religion, like it's fall to the code.
Very much so. And I feel like I told you this yesterday. Like me, when I was playing baseball, I was kind of a little bit outside the box a little bit with some of the stuff that I would do.
He's a wild card. They didn't know what he was going to do next. He's a madman.
I didn't have an attitude problem, but there were certain things like I would talk during my at bats, or I'd run or strut a little bit, stuff like that. I'd be be dapping up guys after catches and things of that nature that my coach didn't like, and he brought me in one day and actually told me that I needed to tone it down a little bit. And I was like, well, what am I doing wrong? And he was like, that's just not what we do here in baseball. And I feel like that right there, that's a problem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a huge problem.
There's no self-expression.
There's no self-expression. That's basically like telling, like, it's basically like a normal thing to tell a player to just shut up and hit. Like,
you know, yeah, basically shut up and hit vibes, which you would call it right there. But that, to me, right there is why baseball is not flourishing the way it needs to flourish. Now, the other thing is the advertisements say, let the kids play. Let the kids do what they do. But you have so many baseball traditionalists who say, when you hit a home run, you drop your bat easy, and you trot around the bases, and you come blah, 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 blah. But you don't do anything with any attitude. You don't do it with any confidence. You don't show that you're even happy that you hit a fucking home run.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
it'd be like hitting a game winner and just walking and just pulling a Derrick Rose and just walking away and not saying nothing.
It's not cool anymore, guys. Like, it's not something that's... And another thing, too, about baseball that's why it's not flourishing. Basketball. Allen Iverson. You know, not even James Harden, but I will say Allen Iverson brought in hip hop culture to basketball. Like, he really brought it in. Tattoos, cornrows, the sleeves, the baggy jeans, all that. In baseball, there is no hip hop culture. Like, there is no connection right there, and that's important when it comes to baseball, because baseball doesn't have a lot of African Americans. Actually, the number is in the single digits, matter of fact, for African Americans that want to play baseball. And I'm sure that baseball wants more percentage-wise, yeah. It's a single digit percentage-wise for African Americans that are playing the sport, and it's actually only declining at this point. So there needs to be some sort of advertisement where you can bring bridge hip hop culture with baseball, because it's never happened before, and you need it, because that's going to bring popularity to the game. I don't understand how a dude like Mike Trout, 12 years, $430 million, one of the greatest baseball players to ever play. Some people even say at the age of, 27, 28, that he's the greatest baseball player to have ever played. He's not even in the top 100 in most marketable athletes. Now, Mike Trout himself might not care, but for MLB, that doesn't do them any good. I don't know how to really help them with that. I'm not a fucking marketing genius. I don't really know where they can go, but what's in basketball and what's so prevalent in basketball is not prevalent in baseball, and even football for that matter. Anything really...
I don't understand why you're, like, not allowed to do anything swaggy out there. Like, as a whole, like, that's what gives it personality. Otherwise, you're just numbers and a hitter. Like,
pretty much.
I think if everybody was just wearing jerseys in the NBA and there was no personality to it, they all just, like...
you're not tapping into these kids' emotions, you know what I'm saying? You're not tapping into...
How are you supposed to really feel it if you can't do nothing about it?
You know what I'm saying?
Like, in NBA, like, you can see, like, the pure emotion when somebody hits a game winner, they win a championship. You can't do that in MLB.
No,
that's
not
crazy,
at all.
bro.
Like, I mean, when they win world championships, everybody's so happy and da-da-da-da-da. But most of the time in baseball, it's such a very calculated and traditional sport. There's not a lot of room to be yourself. Like, that's what the big part of it is. These guys aren't even allowed to be themselves.
I don't see why it has to be so traditional. Like, I understand it's been doing that for that long, but I mean, if that was the mindset, why would we go out of the box and go do anything different?
Actually, Tim, I told you, Tim Anderson, right? So Tim Anderson hit a home run, flips his bat real dramatically, starts running around the bases. Next time he gets up to bat, unwritten rule in baseball, you don't showboat after a home run. Hit him dead in his ribs. Next at bat.
Okay, what happens to, like, when you hit somebody with a ball?
When the pitcher does?
Yeah.
Oh, they'll probably get ejected.
That's it?
They'll probably get ejected.
Come on, take him 90 miles. I hit you something 90 miles an hour. I get ejected for the rest of the game. That's bogus, dude. That's
depending on if there's a fight or not. Suspension.
That's got to be a suspension. Come on, I hit you with the if it was unintentional. Like, it's one thing. Like, if you like try to throw it if you try to get him to like strike out and you just miss. Like, but I mean at that level, that's like saying like you tried to hit the rim and you missed the backboard altogether. Like. I don't know, man.
It's a very, very weird. That's one of the unwritten rules in baseball. You don't showboat after you hit a home run. You don't look at your ball. You don't do none of that.
It's time we amend some of these unwritten rules because they just sound ridiculous.
But look, man, when a guy who hits a 3-pointer, what does he do? You got the 3 eyes. Guys are holding up the 3 sign. They're doing 3 guitar. Like, they're doing all types of shit, man. Shimmying on people.
It's personality. It's flair. It's what makes it watchable. You know.
It adds to the game a little bit more. It adds a little bit of like he said, like Dakota, a little bit of flair, a little bit of some swagger in there. And if baseball doesn't get that, I'm not gonna lie. Baseball isn't gonna die, but basketball is only on the up and up. Yeah. And football is still number 1, but basketball is shooting up. And if baseball doesn't do something, y'all damn near get passed up by tennis or some shit. Like
hockey,
but type shit. Like, for real, it's gotta change. I don't know who's gonna change it, but somebody has to be bold enough.
It just seems like such a childish thing that you can't like gloat after that. Like, I mean, if I smack a homer off you, you should feel a little bad about it. You messed up. Like, talking about I'm so salty you can't even like flip your bat or else I'm gonna throw a ball at you. Like, what? That's some childish ass shit.
You see what I'm saying? Like, that's really what it is, though. So like I said, add a little bit more style. Add a little more sauce to your hot dog. Possibly you can get some players to come in and want to play. And
baseball is one of the weirdest things. Like they talking about somebody's a hot dog. How you gonna call somebody a hot dog? Like that makes like
Showboat,
that is some old. That's like some eating some peanuts or watching the game had ass shit, bro. Like get the fuck out of here.
Hot dog is what they call Pete Maravich back in the '60s.
That's crazy.
They don't do shit like that no more. We don't. Steph Curry's not called a hot dog.
That's just ridiculous, dog. You might that's like having like a hot dog and a fucking peanuts while you're watching the game had ass shit, bro. That's some lame shit.
There has to be some sort of. And I mean, I get it. You know, some baseball fans like, well, we don't want the game to change. The game is cool. All right, fine, perfectly. Y'all going ahead and do that. When the game keeps declining and guys are not having any more fun playing baseball and the ratings are going down and you're not understanding why that is and why. I even seen regular season games midway through the season where there are no, like, not empty stadiums, but like there's just like it's not even filled anymore. Like, and these are big teams that I'm like,
I mean, they can choose not to change, but that's Darwinism. If you don't change, you get left behind.
That's all that really is. Evolution's gonna pass y'all on by. So
I mean,
at
it's
some
the evolution
point,
of sports. It's just every other sport is becoming more soft. You have people like Odell in the NFL. You have people
Even
like
Odell.
Curry in the NBA. I mean, it's fine if there are certain players. I'm not saying every player has to go out there and try to put on some saucy egg, but if you got it, flaunt it, dude. I don't understand. I understand why you should be held in like a certain box.
That's part of who you are. And Odell is a great example that you just brought up. Odell wears a damn helmet over him most of the time. Like, and he's still one of the most popular athletes in the world because he brings a little something extra to him.
Yeah.
And he's got amazing talent on the football field.
I mean, if you can back it up, I'm obviously not saying dudes who can't even hit the ball or like who can't play or like it should be out here like flipping the bat and stuff. But like, if you got it, like if you can back it up, you might as well, you know.
And it's more, and people they've been football, basketball, they all do it. So baseball. Catch up. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, it's literally Darwinism. If you don't change, you get left behind. Why would you want to get left behind?
So, that's pretty much our rant on baseball and its lack of style and its
lack of fun.
Yeah, lack of fun. Let the kids play is the mantra. Y'all better stick that to your foreheads and let that ring because that's really, really important.
It's a job. It's a job where you're supposed to put on a show for other people. So let it be as showy as possible.
So, we're gonna. I think for the yeah. We'll get back to you guys in a second. Stay tuned with us. We're going to be talking about Zaya Wade and Dwayne Wade's relationship and
all the
fuck niggas in the public.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll be right back. Because I was...
All right, we are back on Just a Casual's Insight. We're going to talk about Zaya Wade, Dwayne Wade's new 12-year-old daughter. I mean, she's not new, but I don't know if you guys know recently, but his daughter is now she's changing her name to Zaya, and she's officially a transgender. And I don't see a problem with it personally. I think she can do whatever she wants. Recently, there was a lot of publicity because him and his whole family. It was not recently, but a while ago, they were at Miami Pride Week, and also she was in a picture with Dwayne Wade and his family wearing leggings. And so a lot of people have something to say about it, and I just don't understand personally why it's everybody's business what they're doing, you know?
So here's the thing. I think everybody is like masking their homophobic tendencies on his daughter.
Yeah.
And they need to kind of stop. Whatever you would do with your child, that's what you do with your child. That's perfectly fine. But from the perspective of a father, and I'm 20, I don't have a son, and I don't have a daughter. But if your son at the time is leaning toward one way, if there is something in him, or if he's expressed to you that he is gay or that he is homosexual, as a father, are you really going to tell your son that he doesn't know what he's talking about?
Yeah.
No, you're young. Oh, you're young, man. You don't know what you're talking about. You going ahead and just keep on playing outside in the wood chips. It's okay. You'll figure it out when you're 50. No, as a father, you have an obligation to support your son through anything, sexuality, academics, any experiences. That is your job as a father. So for all the people who are saying he doesn't know he's 12 years old, he doesn't know his sexuality. I didn't know my sexuality when I was 12. Clearly, this kid has a different mind than yours. And even if so, as a father, what is Dwayne Wade supposed to do?
Yeah.
Do you want him to just
like y'all hating the man for like doing what the right thing is? Like, I mean, honestly, if you apply it to anything else, it sounds ridiculous other than sexuality. Like talking about you want to choose for your birthday, and your dad's like, no, you want a wood chipper. Like what? That sounds ridiculous. Why would you do that?
It's weird to me because does Zaya really affect everybody's life? Is he directly or her? Does she affect?
Yeah.
all of you people's lives who are commenting underneath with hate comments and saying mean things about her and Dwayne Wade and saying they don't know how to parent. Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade don't know how to parent. A lot of y'all know how to parent.
Look what I mean. Like, never mind. I was coming out somebody. I was gonna come at like
everybody.
Like, I was gonna come at Megan Thee Stallion and all of them. But let me stop.
Oh no.
I just think that like. A lot of like you guys, nobody. There's no written handbook for parenting. You literally just do the shit as you go, and I think he's doing an amazing job. I mean, you guys don't have a problem with the way he's like raising Zaire. So why do you have a problem with this one? I mean, they're different kids.
I don't understand what the big deal is. And even if keep your comments to yourself, because really, honestly, what is the reason for it? Where is it getting you? What is it doing you? Like all you're showing is your insecurity by sitting there and trying to demean somebody who has nothing to do with you, like absolutely nothing to do with you. You just saw it on the internet and you felt the need to try to hurt somebody's feelings or tell Dwayne Wade that he doesn't know how to parent, or Gabrielle Union doesn't know how to parent, or Gabrielle Union is controlling Dwayne Wade and therefore their son is now transgender and is now Zaya. I don't know what that. I don't understand people on the internet who feel the need to have to say something mean all the time about somebody. It doesn't affect you. It's not a big deal. How he wants to live his life and how Dwayne Wade wants to parent, that's how he parents. Mm-hmm. Now, if Dwayne Wade was sitting there and he was abusing his child or putting his child out or saying, I don't want this, all right, maybe you guys going ahead and, no, that's wrong, da-da-da. But to get upset at Dwayne Wade and at Zaya for making a choice, to make themselves, a life choice, Zaya to make herself happy, I mean, that's just... What is that about? I don't understand I don't understand it.
I mean, she can do whatever she wants. I mean, if she wants to change her mind later down the road and decides to like do it the traditional way and just be a dude, that's fine. But I mean, at the end of the day, why do you have a problem with that? Like, why do you have a problem with other people doing? Like, she's not like coming into your home and being like, I'm gonna tell you my life story about it. Like, honestly, dude, you got a problem with it, just fuck off. I don't care if you're watching a podcast and you're like a homophobic and you got a problem with it, but otherwise you can just fuck off. I don't care.
Because it doesn't, I don't understand it. And then the other thing is too, like, these same people who are making mean comments, making hate comments about people, like you said earlier, if somebody were to go on their Twitter and start saying it, one person can probably say a mean comment and y'all be in y'all feelings about it. So and then you'd be like, mind your own business. It ain't got nothing to do with you. Well, what are you doing talking about Zaya Wade and Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union and their whole family? Man, they living their life, they making millions, and they living happily. You going ahead and you do that, and you mind your own business.
Yeah, I mean, we can sit here and pick apart anybody's life if we really felt like it, but I mean, why do it to Dwayne Wade? I mean, he's never done anything to anybody outside of break Kobe's nose, but that's it. So
literally these days, especially after he retired, in the year that he retired, he was jersey swapping with people, constantly uplifting players on Twitter and personally with them. He doesn't say anything about anybody, like anything bad. Mm-hmm. Even as an analyst, he's very, very congratulatory to people, praising people, trying to keep a positive attitude when analyzing these players, which isn't the case for like everybody. And still, people want to get on him for doing this. I don't basic emphasis. We're trying to say mind your own business.
Just leave him alone, dude.
Mind your own business. Bro.
There's no legit reason any of you would have to actually argue with him over it.
Nothing at all. And if the way you want to parent your kid, you going ahead and you parent your kid that way. Just understand that this country is supposed to be based on freedom. It's supposed to be based on choices. So when your son comes up to you or your daughter comes up to you and says something, and being gay or being transgender is not a crime.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's legal. You're allowed to do whatever you want.
So if your son or daughter comes up to you and expresses that to you, who are you as a parent to say no?
Exactly.
Like who are you as a parent to do that?
A dumbass. That's what you are.
That doesn't make you honestly.
Like, imagine you go to McDonald's and you're like, I want a Big Mac, and they're like, no, you want a McChicken. Like, how does that sound?
How you gonna tell me what I want?
Exactly. Like, that doesn't make any sense, dude. I mean, you saying she's 12, but that doesn't mean she can't be. She's probably smarter than a lot of you guys out there. So
honestly, anything else? I mean, I really just wanted to get across the point to mind your own business and let people choose what they want to choose. If it's harming you, okay, maybe you can have a little say in it. But what's the point of talking about?
It's not doing anything to you.
It's nothing at all whatsoever. You guys are just spreading your little insecurities, whatever little problems that you have in your life, or whatever inconsistencies. Now you're trying to spread that on him, or maybe you just feel the need because you're homophobic. I don't know, man. And if you're homophobic and you're listening to the show, I won't say fuck off, but try to get a little bit educated. And when you have a son, and if they choose to be homosexual, try to be supportive of them at least. Don't tell them that they're straight and that they're just going through a phase in their life. Like, just please don't do that. That's not.
I just think it's why, like, even if you're not for it and you're against it and you're like, you hate all gay people and like, why do you have to keep telling everybody that though? Like,
why bring other people down to your misery?
You're only making yourself look less educated. So I mean, go for it if you want. Dog.
Why bring people down to your misery? You going ahead and live your life.
You got a problem with this? See us in the comment section.
Ooh, that would be that could be one.
I got nothing but time. Nothing but time. I got nothing but time for you.
Somebody's gonna listen to an episode of this one day, and they're gonna be like, "Shut the fuck up! You're gay."
They wait too long. The comment section will be too filled. They'll never find you. So you got to comment right now.
I want to see that one. And are we gonna go right into?
We can. We can go right into the Nick Wright and what he said.
Okay. So this one was interesting, guys. I think we picked up on this like 2 or 3 days ago. I was on Twitter, right? And by the way, like we said, mind your own business. Zaya Wade, Dwayne Wade, keep doing your thing, man. Keep living your life and be at peace and be happy.
You're a good father, Dwayne Wade. Don't let nobody tell you different.
Absolutely, and you're a good mother, Gabrielle. Yeah, Nick Wright, Matt Barnes.
You good?
Nick Wright, Matt Barnes. I was thinking about it. Okay. Switching subjects, and I know we're switching gears, and it's a little weird, but we're switching gears here to Matt Barnes and Nick Wright. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, Nick Wright went on First Things First, matter of fact, on FS1, and was talking about the Andrew Wiggins trade to Golden State for D'Angelo Russell over to Minnesota. Mm-hmm. And in the process of explaining why he didn't like the trade, he said that Andrew Wiggins is a bad basketball player, and that by making this move, Stephen Curry and the Warriors will never see a finals appearance ever again now that Andrew Wiggins is on the team, as if Andrew Wiggins is that kind of team cancer.
Yeah.
Matt Barnes, and do you have Matt Barnes?
I don't know what. Let me check what he said. I don't know what he said.
They might not even have it in the reports, but I can just give you guys basically a little summary of what he said. Basically, he's told Nick Wright, you are an analyst. You get paid to talk about people. All you do is talk shit all day. You were never a player. You were never a pro. You are not in the right, basically, to call a pro basketball player a bad basketball player. Nick Wright responded. They go back and forth. Nick Wright basically says, I don't feel as though I crossed the line. I understand, and I'm not insinuating at all that I am a better basketball player than Andrew Wiggins or the other 450 basketball players that are playing in the NBA. Matt Barnes says you are being very disrespectful to players. Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it in that way, at least. Nick Wright keeps on going, and he keeps on talking about how Andrew Wiggins is a bad player and that he's lazy, poor on defense, inefficient, high usage. Kendrick Perkins gets into it with him as well, and he basically says, how is a guy who's averaging 20 points a game for his career a bad basketball player? How could you call him a bad basketball player? Mm. Nick Wright continues with the high usage, ineffective rhetoric, and Kendrick Perkins says, you're getting off the subject. You said he was a bad basketball player. And that's really where the spark of this conversation is really going for us. Me and Dakota are going to discuss, and we want to hear from the audience.
I mean, I think I got what he said right here. Matt Barnes said, he said, you're an analyst, remember that. You were never good enough to play sports. So you have to talk about it, how you're going to call a man who's... He didn't even word that right. You ran us off, Matt. Call a man whose career 20-point score a bad player. Next time you want to disrespect another pro athlete, remember, we're never shit. Remember, you were never shit. You get paid to talk shit. Then Nick Wright goes on, you're an analyst too now, Matt. And if you can't see past Wiggins' countering stars, you must not be a very good one. Obviously, every player in the league is 100 times better at ball than me, but unfortunately for Andrew Wiggins, he's not playing against me, he's playing against pros. Matt Barnes goes on, your disrespect of players has been out of pocket for a minute. To each his own. You may not like the guy's skill set or think they fit in the system, but to talk shit like what these guys are doing is easy, you cross the line with too much disrespect. And then Nick Wright continues, if you think I'm crossing a line, that's your call to make, but I've always been fair and honest with what I say, and if it rubs your pal KD or a few others the wrong way, so be it. But to act like I'm saying I could do what they do is absurd and patently false. And then he says, save all that pal talk when it comes to disrespect, choose your words wisely. I remember where you live, Nicholas. I think...
He calls that Nicholas.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, also the Kendrick Perkins thing was involved in it as well. We want to hear some engagement from anybody possible. If they want to tell us about what they possibly think about it, we're going to discuss it right now. So the first thing I want to throw at you, Dakota, is really just... Okay, so here's the thing. Mm-hmm. Matt Barnes kind of threw fire on fire. Yeah. By basically saying, okay, so
he pulled the Snoop Dogg with Yale King. That's all he did.
You're a bad basketball player. Okay. Matt Barnes went at him a little bit disrespectful. Now, if he came at him with a little bit more of a different approach, it would have came off a little bit different because I feel as though Matt Barnes had a point. Mm-hmm. But to say the words exactly that he said, I think Nick Wright might have missed the message a little bit. by not really informing him of what he was talking about. He just went straight Oakland on his ass, and it was like, all right, we get it. Like Matt Barnes, I agree with, and to a sense with Matt Barnes, I don't agree with the whole like whatever disrespectful things that he was saying and calling him Nicholas and blah 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 this blah 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 that. But I think what Nick Wright doesn't understand, for me personally, is you probably feel this, you definitely feel the same way. I hope you feel the same way about it. Is for him to sit here and be like, well, of course I'm not talking about me, but then you can't go out there and be like, well, you're a bad basketball player. Because who are you? You know what I'm like that. Yeah. That's where the problem is. So you can sit there all you want to say, well, of course I'm not talking about him, but then you just pointed out that he's a bad basketball player. And I'll give it to you like this: when we're on the court, right? And it might be different because some people say, well, I'm just an analyst and you're a basketball player. I mean, you get paid to talk about it, so we'll talk about it. When you're on the basketball court, right? And let's say a kid pulls up and you're playing and you're shooting and and maybe you're missing a few shots, and a kid pulls up and he's like, Dakota, you suck. You're a bad basketball player. What do you say?
I mean, who are you? Like
right, come play me, right?
Yeah.
That's what I think a lot of these basketball players be thinking about when it comes to reporters. It's like, y'all be telling us we suck, but you're not. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't sit there. That's kind of like a fallacy in a sense. Mm-hmm. So had Nick Wright said something a little bit different, maybe it would have hit on the nail a little bit differently. But for him to say you are a bad basketball player when he's in the 1% of guys that are playing this at the highest level, that doesn't make any sense, especially coming from a dude who did not play basketball at a high level. I think that's what Matt Barnes is trying to say.
Yeah. I can see both sides. Obviously, I don't think Nick Wright has the ability to say you're not a good basketball player, especially to somebody who is. I mean, Andrew Wiggins, I don't think he's an all-star player, but somebody who, I don't consider the bottom of the league. Jimmy Fredette, I don't consider him a bad basketball player.
Right, you know what I'm saying? No
so
NBA
I think
player
he was definitely wrong, but at the same time, I don't think that you have to play basketball or be good at basketball players to judge them or criticize them.
And that is the part about the game. That is the part about the discussion that we want to get into. Because I'm kind of one of those people, Steven Jackson actually, and you brought it up. Steven Jackson is one of those guys like, you ain't played the game, shouldn't talk about it. And I don't necessarily agree with that, but what I will say is there are a lot of analysts out here who haven't played the game and act as if they fucking, like doctors and shit about this shit. That's the only thing. So I think what Steven Jackson is going off of is based off all the analysts that he's seen, or most of them, they just put a sheet in front of you and be like, this guy does this guy does this. Oh yeah, so he must be this type of player. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think to go simply off the box score is to like read the back or front cover of a book and say you know all about it,
Pretty much.
But at the same time, I don't think I think they, like Nick Wright, for example, he gets paid to comment on NBA players. So regardless of whether you like it or not, at the end of the day, he's going to speak on NBA players and what he thinks their abilities are and how good they are.
And personally, I feel like there's no problem with that. If a player has a problem with that, I can't really. But I think what they have a problem with is the misinterpretation sometimes, or even like you were saying about hot takes. Mm-hmm. Sometimes shows go for hot takes. Mm-hmm. We need to say something that'll get people's attention.
Yeah, I don't mean to come at first take, but a lot of what happens on there is scripted, or at least there's no way that I can't remember their names right now. Stephen A. Smith and Max disagree on everything that comes up on the show. It's not possible. There has to be times where they just be like, yeah, and then walk away. But that doesn't make a good show. But
they're characters.
I think hot takes when it comes to somebody's life and their ability, like Andrew Wiggins, for example, that's not the right way to go about it. But at the same point, I think you don't have to have any basketball ability at all to comment on the game. As long as you watch it, you have a full good understanding of it, like Nick Wright does. I don't think you have to be able to play. You have to play.
And that's the most important part about it. Is I think that as long as, that's true. It's not every analyst in the world, but I feel like there's a lot of analysts out there who do not. And it's as simple as pulling up the YouTube highlights. If you want to go do that, you don't have to watch the full game. At least look at some highlights. Some guys will just look at a stat sheet and be like,
numbers don't tell the full story. I mean, for example, let's say you go up and down the court and you haven't recorded a single stat all game, but you play good defense and you hustle. I mean, at the end of the day, you still helped your team. So,
and even a lot of times, like if you look at the box score, like it'll be like, damn, this was a close game. When really it wasn't a close game. It just got close at the end because they made a few buckets at the end to make it look a little bit prettier in the box score.
Yeah.
But really, they got destroyed the whole game. You know what I mean? Like it's something like that. And those tiny little details some people don't account for when it comes to basketball. As far as what Matt Barnes said, agree with him. Could he have said it a little bit differently? I felt like he could. Because he had a point. It's just that you didn't make the point correctly. He came off a little bit.
I think he somewhat had a point, but I don't think that Nick Wright's ability to play ball has anything to do with it. But don't think...
Did he say that?
Oh yeah, he said that Nick Wright would like all these people are better. He said I'm sorry, give me a second, I'm looking it up. He said you weren't good enough to play sports, so you get paid to talk about it.
Okay, so as far as addressing what he said about Matt Barnes and Stacks, I gotta disagree. I don't believe that the likelihood of you knowing more basketball if you played, it's higher, increases, right? But I don't think you have to play the game exactly to know. Like, some of these coaches out here ain't played, but they coaching teams. You know what I'm saying? Like, and maybe you might come at me and say, well, these coaches don't know what they're talking about. All right, we could talk. That's a discussion that you can have. But there's assistant coaches, there's coaches who have only been around the game or watched the game, and yet they coach teams.
Mental staff, and all around the NBA, are you just only going to hire people who played before?
There's trainers who ain't played no basketball. They train top NBA players. So I can't necessarily agree and say that if you're not a basketball player, you ain't played at a high level, that you can't analyze, because there are plenty of people in professions at high levels who do this shit. You know what I mean? And I don't think that's wrong. If you know what you're talking about, you can do what you want.
Yeah, I think Matt Barnes wouldn't move so far. I'm tired of Steven Jackson's take on you haven't played so you can't talk shit, because that's the only people who will be out of a job because of that. That's not how the NBA works, and that's not how business works. That's like saying you have to eat groceries to be able to like deliver groceries, or like you have to eat Domino's to be able to deliver. That makes no sense at all.
Like I said, the likelihood of you knowing, better. But does it correlate?
I think it definitely gives you an experience and a look at the game that you can't get from just looking at the stats.
Right.
Like, playing it obviously helps you, but at the same time, I don't think that limits you to being able to do, like, you can't talk about it at all or discuss it or get paid to talk about it.
It's just that, some of these guys, like you said, in shows, they miss the mark, or they're trying to go for a certain take, and calling Andrew Wiggins a bad basketball player and a guy who's going to literally stop the Warriors from getting a championship, I don't think that's the right move to make.
Yeah, I definitely don't agree with him on that, but at the same time, I think Matt Barnes and Stephen A. Jackson, because of their show The Smoke, they constantly want to be like player advocators. They're anti-media and pro-player, which is fine to be against the media with a pro player, but I think whatever is said about any player, they're some of the first people to show up to be like, hey, that's wrong, you can't do that.
I think it all depends on situation. Not everything I agree with. Most of it I agree with, though. But as long as people are giving, and that's what we're here. That's what we're kind of here for, to help bring a little bit of, like, bridge the gap of what they're talking about between what the media does and what players do. Because we've both gone on and on and on and on and on about sometimes how the media might chop things up in a way where that's not really true.
Yeah, I mean,
do that all the time.
At the initial point, I disagree with I disagree with Nick Wright's initial point, but at the end, I definitely agree with him over Nick Wright. I don't think his ability to play ball. I think Nick Wright continued to push the issue, especially in his tweets and replies to everybody. It seemed like more of a pride thing towards the end of the day, but especially when he got called out by Matt Barnes. But I still think that he has, like, I think he was wrong in his initial thing. And
look, man, here's the thing about it. Like, the 450th best NBA player will go to the court right now, the local court over here in Lansing, and bust everybody's ass. And I'm talking about bust everybody's ass. No contest whatsoever. None of us would even touch them. That's just and I think that's what Matt Barnes is trying to speak to a little bit. He kind of went about it the wrong way, but that's just kind of the point of what we're making. There are no bad basketball players when it comes to the NBA, or when it comes to pro leagues in general. There are no bad basketball players. Are there guys who are better than others? No. I mean, yes, I said no. But yes, there are clearly. Kevin Durant is better than Zaza Pachulia. Yeah, we know that. But
Zaza Pachulia a bad basketball player, but there's definitely levels to the shit.
Yeah, that's all it is. But but when you're talking about that high level of play, be relative about it and understand that there's this and then there's us. We comment on it and we try to get as good as we possibly can about it, but to sit here and almost put ourselves in the position of an NBA player and be able to comment on it on the same level.
To talk about somebody who has played basketball at a high level before and has dedicated their whole life to the sport, to call them bad. And also, for a fact, I mean, Andrew Wiggins is not this is the number 1 overall pick in the 2014 NBA draft, averaging 22 points a night, 22 and a half points a night for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And a few years ago, averaged 24 points. So this is clearly not a bad basketball player. This is a dude who can put the ball in the basket. But at the same time, I do think there's a lot that he can do better. Yeah, he has a lot to learn. He has a lot to work on. I want to see a lot of grinding out of him in the offseason, especially if he's going to play in that Warrior system.
Because this year is kind of like, we're just going to move this over to the side. It is what it is. But this year, I agree, absolutely. He needs to come in and there's certain things that have to be done. And I think from that perspective, look, I don't play in the NBA. But I can sit there and look at the screen and be like, okay, well, he can probably get better at this, and this. And you could do all that without having to say that he's a bad basketball player or that he's terrible or that he's a cancer or that he's this, that, and the third. You can sit here and he could probably do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a basic little criticism. That's something that Andrew Wiggins could probably look at and be like, yeah, I'm not going to lie, I probably could. But the other stuff, not really there for it.
Yeah, I don't like the narrative that you have to play to be able to talk about it.
Is there any...
Because a lot of players who used to play it, like Kenneth Perkins, for example, a lot of the time doesn't know what he's talking about.
That's the other thing, too. Like, while we sitting here and we talking about NBA players and media members, there are some NBA players who are now media members that don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
There are some media members.
I mean, Paul Pierce, for example. Paul Pierce has been proven wrong. And so, like, he literally is the Paul Pierce curse. If he says you're going to win, you're losing. So, I mean, I don't think... And they just see it from a different perspective. So, I do think it's possible. Like, I don't think Matt Barnes is a bad analyst. I don't think... I
think he's solid.
Yeah, I think he's solid. I don't think he's bad, but I also think Nick Wright is also a good analyst.
I think he does his thing just as long as he's able to, like, just as long as, like, it'd be something like this. Like they'll go to a player, right? Mm-hmm. And they'll be like, okay, so you played against Kobe and LeBron, right? Mm-hmm. And they'll be like, so who do you think was tougher to guard? Who do you think was a better basketball player? Mm-hmm. A lot of the players, if you ask them, they'll be like Kobe. And then the analysts would be like, man, this dude don't know what the fuck he talking about. Like, I'm like, well, why wouldn't you agree with him? He just hating.
I think it's just his opinion, but a lot of the time, I mean, players get, like, Scottie Pippen got destroyed when he said that LeBron was a more complete player than Jordan. So a lot of it's just to save face for, like, I don't want to be torn apart on Twitter because I said something that I want to take back later.
Could be, possibly. Well, that's for Scottie Pippen, because Scottie Pippen flipped his opinion like 4 times.
Scottie flipped it like 4 times.
Yeah, 4 times.
Jordan and LeBron.
I think he started with Jordan, then said LeBron, then said he flipped his opinion. But I've heard plenty of players, like, you can ask Allen Iverson, you can Steven Jackson, you can ask Matt Barnes, you can ask guys who have defended both of them or somebody like that, and they'll give you an answer, but it's not like what reason do they really have to give you?
I mean, it's just their answer.
You know what I'm saying? It's their answer, you know what I'm saying? And if that's their experience with it. So
like, if you go back and ask Legend, I don't know if anybody you've ever watched Open Court, but a lot of their hardest players to guard aren't necessarily star players. They're just little guys that did certain things to give them trouble. So just because somebody says they're harder doesn't mean that they're necessarily a better player or anything like that.
I think that it has to be taken into consideration kind of what these guys are able to do on the basketball court, because some guys are... There's more to it than just numbers. That's all it is. There's more to it than just numbers. There's more to it than just stats. Is there anything else that we can...
I think that's pretty much it when it comes to that.
Yeah. Stay clean, Matt Barnes. Stay clean, Nick Wright, pretty much. That's about that. Like, stay analyzing, stay doing...
Both y'all don't relax. I don't know what the whole thing with, like coming to people personally, like with Snoop Dogg coming to Gayle King and then talking about we gonna come get you, and now Matt Barnes might know where you live. Like, just because you pulled up on Derek Fisher don't mean you gotta go do it to everybody. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Don't start that one. Yeah.
You gotta chill out, dog. You can't just pull up on anybody you have Twitter beef with and just fight them. That's not how life works.
All the smoke. Actually, I love their show. I absolutely love their show. I think Kobe, they've had Kevin Durant.
I'll get more into all the smoke when we talk about Kevin Durant's interview with them next week. Next episode.
That's right. We do have to talk about Kevin Durant in that. You guys got to stay tuned for that, because that's going to be like a whole... It's not going to be a whole Kevin Durant show, but we're going to kind of break down.
He's going to have a big part about it. I mean, he had an hour and a half interview, so there's a lot to talk about.
So we're going to talk about what was detailed in that interview. Mm-hmm. But let me get off the Kevin Durant subject. So for today, we talked about the Astros and their cheating scandal, why baseball is so old-fashioned. Shit. We talked about Zaya Wade, Dwayne Wade, leave their asses alone. And we talked about Matt Barnes and Nick Wright, guys. Mm-hmm. Like I said at the top of the show, follow us on Twitter. Q&A on us, man. If there's anything that you said that you think is out of pocket or you think that we didn't do a good job analyzing, you go on ahead and tell us about it. We are on Anchor, which is where most of the people who watch get this from. We're on Spotify, though. Check us out on Spotify. YouTube is the biggest one. We need subscribers. Actually, we don't need subscribers. We would like you to subscribe. We don't want to get thirsty up in here, but we would like you to subscribe.
If you're watching multiple episodes, there's no reason for you not to.
So please get into it. If there's any topics you want us to talk about, we will absolutely 100% dig into it, unless it's some shady ass shit. Like, don't come in here with the whole don't do no fuck nigga shit. Don't do none of that.
Yeah. I mean, if anybody's interested in being on, again, hit us up in the comment section. On Twitter, you can always DM us.
We're always available. We love doing podcast episodes. We love this show. We feel like we got the best content in the world. We feel like we're the best. Well, yeah, we feel like we have the best podcast in the world. We feel like we give good analysis. Check us out on every major platform, because we are everywhere except Apple Music. I'm going to have to talk to them about that again. Just the Casuals Insight, Jelani Smith, Dakota Mitchell. This has been episode 16. We'll get back to you guys. We'll see you on episode 17.